All right. All right, so let's take a deep breath in and welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome to September 29th, 2020. The very best day of your life so far. And thank you, Paradigm Shifters, for joining us. I am so excited. We hit our 200th member mark yesterday. And as of this morning, we are at 203. Woohoo! Isn't that great? All right. And that includes from 7 countries, all of the United States, people who are dedicated to their shift. We are in a shift. Yeah, we are in our shift. And today we are talking about, we're bringing this for all of the parents and grandparents, and if you've been parented. And when I was thinking about this, because as people were coming in, they were telling me, like, where is their paradigm? You know, what is it? And there is a large number of parents who are going through changes right now. There's, in this group, there are beginning mommies with little babies. There's the people trying to parent, they are parenting teenagers during COVID behind the screen. And I thought, well, who could I get to be a guest speaker? Who do I know that I've watched over the years? Watch her parent. Watch her parent beautiful, beautiful children as a wife and a mother and a sister. And one thing, then of course my mind popped in, of course, Dora Boggs, right? Dora Boggs. So let me tell you a little bit about Dora, then I'm gonna turn you over. Dora, I just remember when I first met you, and it's just, you have this glow about you, and it's this high energy of caring and love. So let me tell you a little bit about Dora. So Dora is from Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, their hometown, and she lives currently in Costa de Casa, California. And one of the things I know that about Dora is I've known her behind the scenes as a worker bee. And she's always ready to give you a hug when she senses you need one. And I can't wait till we could in-person hug. And she's going to talk to us about experience raising her 3 children in Mexico and in the United States. And Dora is a recent US citizen. And I do know about Dora as well that she loves to help and inspire others. And her favorite quote is, "Yes, we can." So without further ado, I'm going to just turn this over to Dora. And thank you so much for being here. We're honored. Oh, Dora, we can't hear you. Do you have your phone? Oops. Okay, I think what is. Oh, okay. All right. Dora, let's see. Somehow or other, we can't hear you. Whoops. Uh-oh. Now we can. Oh, almost. There it is. Almost.
Okay.
Now we got, yay. All right, everybody, yay.
You can hear me now?
Yes, we can. You're loud and clear. Okay. It's all yours, Dora.
Thank you so much, Judy, for inviting me, and wonderful meeting you, each one of you. Some of you might be experiencing right now some challenges, situations, conditions, circumstances. Today, I'm gonna share with you 3 tools how to hold your mind into what you want, regardless of the facts situations or circumstances look like. And the best part of it, I'm gonna show you how. I'm going to begin with a story, Judy, actually, and that you have not heard. And it goes way before I had my daughter. So in August of 1999, I had the wonderful, amazing news that I was pregnant with twins, two beautiful babies in my belly. And on my very first ultrasound at the 8th week, the doctor was telling me that I had not one, but I had two babies. And we were, yes, my husband and I were so happy, so excited, because it was a dream of mine since I was a little girl. And as soon as we were like, so the excitement of, that, wow, I'm having twins, the doctor shared with me that the chances for me to carry both of the babies during my pregnancy was 50%. That the chances for me to have big babies, under 7 pounds, under 5 pounds, was very high. In other words, that I could have a 2-3 pound baby when they were born, preemies, premature, as they say. The doctor also told me that I was not going to have a natural delivery, that I was going to have twins. You got to have C-section. So I was facing that moment with results that I didn't want in that moment. And I didn't want what the doctor was telling me in that moment, that my pregnancy and delivery was gonna be like. So I was like, I went home, and as I was kind of, thinking about what the doctor said, there was that part of me in that moment that I thought to myself, you know what? I am going to carry my babies full term, meaning 38 weeks. I am going to have big, healthy babies. And you know something else? It's been a dream of mine to have a natural delivery. I'm having two babies, and I know that's it for me. We already had a beautiful baby, 8-year-old son. So we got 3 kids, perfect, Well, on my 20th week of pregnancy, they do a ultrasound where they really check absolutely everything in the babies, And so after the ultrasound, that my doctor came and talked to John and I, and she had this face that was not a good sign. And so the doctor told me that one of the babies had a cyst in her brain, and that maybe the cyst was going with the weeks, with time, it was going to disappear. The likelihood of that was very unlikely. And that I needed to have a amniocentesis to check if the baby maybe was going to be a Down syndrome baby. And that maybe if I was gonna have that diagnosed, that my baby maybe was gonna be a Down syndrome, that maybe I could choose whether I wanted to carry that baby or not. And so here once again, during my pregnancy, I had, facts, situations, and conditions in that moment. Have you ever had a situation or condition or a fact or a challenge in your life? Maybe in this moment, because of the pandemic, one of you might have lost your job. Maybe a loved one is sick. Maybe, you are a teacher and you are having a challenge with your kids engaging into the online classes. Maybe one of you has your son or a grandson in your house that's supposed to be in school in person, and now they're doing classes online. For me, with the pandemic, one of the, of the situation in my family was that on my daughter's first years of college, they had to come home in the middle of the first freshman year. And so getting back into the story of my 20th week ultrasound, I was faced once again with this, diagnosis that the doctor was telling me. I didn't even needed to leave the office. The doctor, and the doctor said, let me know what you would like to do. So I asked the doctor to please give us some space. And she walked out of the office, and John and I, the first thing we did, we held hands. We held hands, and in that moment, I and him, we knew without speaking to each other what we wanted to do. And what we wanted to do was to hold on to our faith, my faith, his faith, of what we really wanted in that moment. And we knew that no matter what, God was in the middle of it, taking care of that beautiful, both of my babies in my belly. And so we said to each other, no, we are having this beautiful baby. And the doctor came back in, and we told her no need to do any further, medical procedures and anything like that. Everything is going to work out okay. Everything is going to be beautiful with these babies. And so to tell you, obviously, the end of my story because you know my daughters, but I want to tell you exactly what my delivery was like. I broke every single record that you can think of. I delivered my babies in Portland, Oregon, in the hospital is called St. Vincent's Hospital. And my perinatologist, which means a very high risk doctor, delivered my babies. So are you ready for the news? One record, I carry my babies full term, meaning in a twin pregnancy, 38 weeks. My babies, I broke a second record. One of them weighed 7 pounds, 11 ounces. The second baby weighed 7 pounds, 2 ounces. So that was record number 2. Record number 3, I mean, the most important, happy, healthy, thriving babies. But the other one that I am so proud of, I had not one, both of the babies, natural delivery, were born. One was born one day and the other one was born 6 hours later.
Yay, mama.
So, what I've learned with this experience are the 3 tools that I'm so excited in this moment to share with you of what I had to do, what I did, intuitive. I really believe that this was what God really, one of the greatest gifts is my faith. It is something that I had in my being, that it came in me since I was in an orphanage for many, many years, most of my childhood and teenage years. So the biggest blessing from that orphanage was that it gave me my faith. So are you ready? I want to hear.
Yes. And you know what? I want everybody here and everybody on the recording, get a notebook, get a pen. these are the aha moments that are going to carry you through. So just wanted to put a pause, because this woman, Dora, I so appreciate you. Okay, there you go. I want to hear it. I'm so grateful you brought up your faith.
Oh,
Yeah.
so, as I shared with you, you all have in this very moment, and especially because of the pandemic, diagnosis, results, circumstances, situations, conditions, but that doesn't define who we are. So I'm so excited to share the 3 tools to hold on in your mind of what you would love, regardless of what is going on in this very moment in your life. So are you ready? Tool number 1. Move, okay, from fear to faith. God is blessing you. If you don't believe in God, source, divine, universe, we live in an abundant universe that is blessing us every step of the way in our lives. So for me is my God. So move from fear to faith, and like in that moment, like getting back into my story, I had a lot of fear, and it was very scary, everything that the doctor was telling me, and so once I was like, okay, all of this is going on, what do I do now? So I created in my mind and in my heart, see, they go together with my God's help, what I really wanted. And I focus on that. So every time my mind was like, oh, maybe, the baby's not gonna grow enough, or it's gonna have this. And so I moved my mind into what I wanted. So I went from fear to faith. So that's the tool number 1. Tool number 2, okay, which I move from what you don't want to what you do want. So I didn't want, as I shared a little bit earlier, I didn't want these results. I didn't want what the doctor was telling me that it was might look like for me, and so I moved to what I really wanted. The same thing right now, another example that I can give you is what's going on in the pandemic in this very moment. I mean, when I heard that we, like my daughters, let's talk about my daughters, where they came home, they called me crying, really, really sad from college, and say, Mom, you gotta come and pick me up. I need to be out of here right now. And thank God both of them live about an hour from me. So I was like, okay, I went, pick them up, brought them in, and I helped them, to move from what was going on, that they had a dream of their own since high school to be in their college and have a college experience was like no other, with the sorority, the experiences, being in college, their dorms, and all of that was cut short. So here they are in our home now. And so, I helped them move from all of these fear, that the contagious of the coronavirus, into what they wanted, and not only for them, but also for me and for my husband. I will share with you a little more, about the experience of what we experienced. So that's tool number 2, move from, from what you don't want. So hold in your mind the image of what you do want, not the image of what you do not want, So, okay. And the tool number 3, okay. It's like, oh,
You're so good.
Know that no matter what, okay, there is a blessing in this. There is a blessing and a gift in it, no matter what. You see, for me, I look back about my pregnancy and what the doctor had a diagnosed for me, and I respect that. He's a professional, you know, and I'm grateful that he told me all those things, that my pregnancy was considered a high risk the second I found out I was pregnant, because I took much better care of myself. I stopped working, you know, I stayed home. I really took extra care of myself and my nutrition. And yes, you know, yes, the more I put food in my mouth that were healthy foods, the more I imagine my baby's growing and growing and growing and healthy. And I said, okay, this broccoli is good for my baby. And, you know, so I kept seeing. So the blessing in it of what the doctor told me was that I could actually take a much better care of myself. Had I not known that, maybe I would have just continued to work with the stress. And you know what I mean? So does anybody have any questions about the 3 tools? So far, no? Okay, I can continue. All right, perfect. So, you know, when I brought my daughters, you know, this is an example that I can share with you. When my daughters, both of my daughters, so I went pick one up, brought all her stuff. Then I went and the next day and went and picked the other one up, came home, and both of them, as I shared with you, were absolutely devastated. They were very sad. They were very, in a way, honestly, kind of heartbroken, because all of their, you know, the dreams that they had for the first year were completely altered and changed. And so in that moment, I obviously, you know, I was loving, caring, compassionate for them. I let them feel those feelings. And then right away, without even making a move, right here in my mind, as I was holding my daughters, you know, they're kind of big. So it was like, in that moment, instead of continue to live in that, the energy of what was going on for them, I decided to create in my mind what I really wanted, not only for them to have an amazing experience being in quarantine, but for me as a mom, for me as a wife, for me as a friend, for me as a daughter, and also support my husband. You know, here we are all at home now. So right away, I created in my mind that we were going to have no matter what. So these are the blessings, the gifts of the pandemic. And it was, and it is actually, that we had, yes, this beautiful, nice and easy, fun experience, especially the first 3 months, you know, where it was full of laughter. We laughed so much. We, instead of gaining 15 pounds, we were walking together 3, 4, 5 miles every day. One of my daughters that absolutely does not like cooking, she learned to cook. She loves cooking now. You know, another daughter that they painted for me, that didn't know how to paint, didn't even know how to hold a brush. They both together painted a beautiful Mexican flower painting for me for Mother's Day. And we watched, John, my husband, my twins, we watched over 25 Disney movies. And so I believe that, you know, my experience of what, you know, how these huge, each one of you in this moment are facing some type of situation, condition, or circumstance in your life. And I know that now what I've learned 20 years ago, that I applied these 3 tools, I continue to apply these 3 tools in my life, not only as a mom, not only as a super mom, but also as a, you know, as a wife, as a daughter, as a friend, as a career woman, as a life mastery consultant, you know, in every area of my life, I get to, you know, to apply these 3 tools. And I know that you can apply them too. I know you can do this. So if you have, you know, a situation right now, like someone, you know, one of your, you can't hold your grandkids, or you cannot see your family in person, or, you know, you are found out that a dear friend of yours, you know, it's sick, you know, or you are, you know, a mom that is having challenges getting your kids to really be fully, you know, excited about doing online courses, or you are a beautiful transformational coach or a superman, that you can, you know, if you use these tools, which I know you can, it will work for you too. So you will be a superhero in your own life, you know. So
Yeah.
thank you, Judy. Thank you so much, you know, for letting me share my experience, you know.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Dora. I do. Thank you so much. You're such a heart. So let's take a deep breath in here. Good job.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
what I would love to do is to open if you know, excellent job. Open up, and if anyone has any ahas from maybe what Dora has, or any questions, you know, let's start out with, you know, your name, where you're from, and my question is: are you up for some question and answers, Dora?
Oh yes, of
Oh yes, of course.
course. Ready to share my you know, my experience and my strength, you know, and how
There
to
you go.
shift my paradigms from one side to the other.
I have a question. If and then if and I'm going to start out. Is that okay?
All right.
All
All
right.
right.
Okay. My question is, when you decided to move from Mexico to the United States, one, what were some of the paradigms that came up for your daughters? And how did you and John, or you as parents, help them navigate that experience of moving from one country to another? And have been so curious about that ever since you decided to move. Because weren't they in middle school when you moved them?
Yes.
Okay, so you moved them into high school in the United States, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was just wondering about their paradigms, and how, as a parent, you help your child or even grandkids. Or you don't have grandkids yet. I'm like the nana here, but anyway, that's what I would just like to have you maybe speak into that when they were younger. Yeah.
Yes, and it's getting back, and thank you, Judy, for asking me about our experience. One of the things that has worked for me, and I know that it will work for you too, is to really, and I let me, before I answer the question, I got to say this because I can only speak for my own experience as a mom, you know, and the dreams that my daughters have achieved and they continue to achieve, is to really hold. And when I go like this, is because our minds are so amazing. My mind is so amazing, you know, with my God's help, that I create in my mind the vision, the dream, the goal that I want for my daughters. This is a perfect example. So John and I kept holding in our minds what we wanted for them, even though they didn't quite know what they wanted at that age, you know? So one of my twins was absolutely very excited and happy to move to the States. And the other one was absolutely devastated. She didn't want to leave her friends. She didn't want to leave her school, none of it. So we just, you know, held in our hearts, in our loving hearts, the picture, the movie of what her life was gonna be like in the States. And we just got super excited. So it wasn't just about telling her about the movie, describing the movie to her, but also getting excited about it for her. Oh, Kayla, this is Kayla. Oh, Kayla, you're gonna love this school. The soccer fields are grass, not dirt, you know, because in Mexico it's dirt. It's grass, and the gym for the soccer players is like huge, and you're gonna have, look at I mean, you're going from 30, you know, students in your class to 1,900 in the high school. So we kept telling her all of the things that she was going to have in high school here. You're gonna make a lot of friends, and the friends that you have in Mexico, they're always going to be your friend. They've been their friends since they were 2 years old, you know? They're always gonna be there for you. So we kept moving from the fear and the anxiety that she was having to what she was going to have. And, you know, and we kept telling her, we're always gonna go back. We're gonna go back anytime you want. And so we kept just moving to the positive, and from the fear to the faith, you know, from, yeah. So that's what, yeah.
Wow, that's perfect. And Matt, can you guys imagine growing up like that? I think it'd be so cool. All right. Anybody else? Wasn't that anybody else? Any questions or ahas, or how you would take that into your life right now? Who we got here? You can just unmute yourself and speak out. Oh, Carol's
Hi.
getting me.
I'd like to say something. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, great.
Okay. Thank you, Dora, very much. I love that. That was beautiful, the way you presented it. What my thoughts go to whenever you mention your daughters is, I have several daughters. My youngest daughter has been experiencing health issues and weight problems for some time. And I will go in and mentally see her in my mind and do like visualize a line from my heart to her heart and talk to her, especially when I know she's experienced a lot of anxiety. And I'll just, in my mind, have a conversation with her, encourage her, tell her how much I love her and that everything's going to be okay. By what you said, it made me feel like, okay, well, what if I took that a little step further and just go ahead and take her fear, her concerns, her you know, condition at the moment out of the equation, and really see that vibrant health and that energy and that confidence within, and see that within her now. So that reminded me of that. And this connection that we have is really strong. And, you know, as a parent to a child, I think that's, I don't know, might be stronger. It could be with anybody. But I do remember, and she was taking her test for her GED, this was a long time ago, and at a college, and she was really nervous. And of course I couldn't go in, you know, the mom hanging out, you know. So I sat at a picnic table outside and I visualized her and spoke to her and said, just take a deep breath, sit up. You know, I'm telling her all this stuff in my mind. And then when she came out, I said, well, how did you do? And she's, you know, she told me, she says, well, I was one of the first ones to finish. And, you know, it was really pretty easy. And I said, oh, well, I was out here talking to you, encouraging you. And she says, oh, well, I was wondering why I sat up all of a sudden and took a deep breath. I thought that was kind of strange, but oh, now I understand. So we are all energy, and it is, you know, there is so much power, and we need to remember that. And it's just what you said about how you worked with your daughters reminded me of that, and then to take it up a notch.
Yes.
You know, up into it in a bigger way.
Yes, I absolutely. Can we all just cheer? Yes, for you. I love what you share. And that is why it's so important to, and I'm so grateful to you, Judy, for creating this amazing group, to stay connected, to stay, because, you know, we support each other. We, by sharing our experiences and our strength going on in our lives, it reminding us, you know, of what to do. And I love that, because that is exactly, you know, like you said, we are all energy, and I mean, if you got hours, I can share hours of the things that I created in my mind with God's help, you know, that became the manifested in my daughter's life. Not only my daughter's life, but I can share an example in this very moment with somebody dear to me, and that is has health challenges. And what I'm seeing in my mind with every time I pray is that these cells that are not healthy are already, before he even started his chemotherapy, leaving his body already. I'm already creating that, you know, that, and I know he's gonna live a beautiful, like you said, for your daughter, you know, a vibrant, healthy, and I absolutely love that. Thank you, you know, yeah, so excited.
Amen. Carol, you unmuted yourself. Carol, you want to say something?
Well, something came to my mind as Dora was talking. Thank you, Dora, for your story. I have 2 children, but I was thinking more of myself, because my perceptions of my childhood and what I went through may not be what I feel I needed, but Dora's talk reminded me that I can reparent myself. I don't have to go into blame or anything of, oh, what happened to me or this was bad, but to say, I have the ability to create my own reality of who I am, and to parent myself. That was what I got out.
I absolutely love that. Love what you share. It is so powerful. It is so empowering for you and for each one of us, what you just share. You know I didn't share about, I kind of drop a little bit about me being in the orphanage, and for a little while, or a while, I was very resentful to my dad and my mom for putting me in there for almost 12 years, and on and on and on. But I created in my mind that I get to choose how I want to be in this moment. I get to cut those chains of the past as of yesterday, and not bringing them with me to help me to be who I am, what I want to be in this very moment, you know? So thank you, Carol, so much. Love that.
Thank you. Wow, what a group. Okay, anybody else before we put a close a tie? Oh, Lynn.
I don't have a question, but I do want to comment. I love the 25 Disney movies. My daughter is going to be 30 next year, and she's watched Disney, you know, when other kids are watching all kinds of weird stuff. If you would go into her room, she would have the Disney Channel on. And I'm going over to her house on the 10th. We're going to have lunch and watch the new Mulan. So, Dora, another heart connection with you, Disney. So wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. I love the tools.
Oh, thank you, Lynn. So wonderful seeing you, and you know, with your beautiful daughter. Yes, I love Mulan. I mean, it was, you know, in you know, the connection, the time, the quality time that you're spending with your daughter. And it's something that, you know, she will always remember, and so will you, you know. And that is what, for me, watching those, I mean, all of our kids grandkids watch those movies growing up. Some don't even remember. My kids didn't remember a whole bunch of them, neither did I. So watching them now, it's like, but it's mostly that connection, that togetherness, that amidst of what's going on with the pandemic and all these things, you know, that are going on in our lives, we have a moment that is beautiful, connection, loving, and it takes your focus into something so fun, you know. Thank you, man.
That's so great. And I don't know if you knew this or not, Dora, but in my vision, we have all of our family is all doing what I'm doing, and and I love the fact that we have this scaffolding. Like, okay, well, here is the vision here, and then what does it look like? This. Well, my daughter Julie is an interpreter for the deaf. I don't know if you knew that or not.
No.
And 2 or 3 months ago, she started interpreting online for my Wednesday night group.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, oh wow, because she's in Florida, we're here, we're all over, and she's grew up in this stuff, like your daughters too. I love the fact that your daughters and Ricardo, they're working in the business, they're right there working with you guys. I mean, their grandma, but anyway, I decided to throw that in, that there was a moment in time where I asked her and she said yes. Now, when I was forcing, no. And so it's having that, and I just want to show another vision of mine, that we would all be together on the beach for Thanksgiving.
Wow.
And Jody and I drove to Florida from Texas, and we actually, here's a picture of all of us on the beach in Florida, for Thanksgiving. And it was one of those, holding the vision, everything was going wrong, all these health things, you name it. And like you said, I love this. This is going to be my new hand signal. No. Yes. And thank you so much for sharing about carrying your daughters. I had no idea. And yes, and my second son is he was born with a condition called cerebral palsy, and we did the same thing all of his life. He's 45 now, and yeah, he loves John. He follows John on YouTube, comments on everything. But you know what? Every time I would go into those doctor's office, I heard numbers, and I would come out and go, and I would crash. I would crash in my mind, because, and then it took every ounce of all the people I knew who believed like you do. I would call them up. Last night I called Lynn up. It's like, okay, I need to get back focused, because I cannot do this by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what you were saying?
Yes.
A support team.
Yes. Yeah. And also, and I mean, to add in more to that is that for me, what has helped me in my life over and over and over and over and over, in every single area of my life, in my marriage, in my career, as a mom, in business, with friends that are having challenges, that I hold on to the good, and see the good no matter what, that to me, relied on my faith, on your higher power, whatever you believe in, and yes, see the good there, no matter what the results said. Another example that is just like health wise, I've never gotten a physical in my life. I'm 52 years old. And I had a doctor gave me, all of the blood work, this and that. And she said to me, oh, you're pre-diabetic, work out 5 days a week, and, eat healthy. Guess what I was doing already? Working out 7 days a week and eating healthy. And I'm like, okay, this doctor, it is, I'm not saying disregard what the professional is telling you, but I know, because what is happening in my life, that with my own source, my faith, I get to choose how healthy I'm going to be. And you know what I did? In that moment, I went in my mind of what I wanted. And I said, I am not pre-diabetic. I am not pre-diabetic. And I finally went with Mary's and John's doctor. He did another physical. He did all of that. He gave me supplements. I cut these kinds of food out of my diet. And then he did another blood work. And you know what he said? He looked at me, Dr. DeMello, and said, Dora, in my eye, and he went to everything. He goes, you know, these results is an A+ in your blood work and your medical. And she says, this is boring. In the professional medical field, he's a PhD in, you know, Western Eastern medicine, this and that, but with natural. He's like, he looked at me, he goes, this is boring. This is A+. You are not, you know, and it was, but once again, in my own health, this is how I was able to move, because I didn't want to live with those results in my life. So we can apply these 3 tools in every single area of our lives, you know, and I cannot thank you enough to you, all that, you know, that are here to just support each other and be a superwoman, a superman, a super grandma, a super friend, a super everything. You know, apply these tools and you'll have a joyful, beautiful life you love.
Yes, good. Okay, I think one more question, Nancy.
Hey, everybody, Nancy from Dallas. I know we're almost at time, but it strikes me that there's an additional component that everyone who has spoken today or is holding this in their heart has stepped through and is stepping through. It's forgiveness, the practice of forgiveness. Dora, do you have any last words you want to drop on us about how you've been able to use that tool in your life that might benefit us as well, or Judy, or whomever?
Yes, I that is a big part of helping me to grow and live at peace and serenity in my life. I was not a perfect mom, neither I was a perfect wife, never going to be, I believe. And so to me, that's the truth.
I'm appreciating that it is the human experience, that we are spiritual beings living in the human suit, and we have experience, right?
Progress is not perfection. One of the things that I've learned about forgiveness, that is one of my favorite practices that I do to live in a every single day of peace and serenity, is when I practice make amends, to say sorry when I'm speaking, whether it's harsh or unkind or unloving. In that moment, I don't wait 3 days to do it. I own my own behaviors and actions that are not in alignment with what I want this woman to be. You know, so in that moment, and it's just a little practice every time, I say, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. And then I describe why I'm sorry.
Yes.
And one of the biggest things for me about forgiveness is that when I say I make amends, or I say I'm sorry about whatever situation, it's not for the other person, it's for me.
Yeah.
It helps me to, it releases me from that burden. And many times I have already, at my daughters, right before they went off to college, I took them each to a lunch, and I made amends with them. I'm sorry I yelled at you. I'm sorry that I pushed you too hard. You know what I mean? And they say, oh, mom. And but when about forgiveness, the forgiveness is not only for the other person, and it helps the other person, but mostly it's for you. And there are many ways to use, there's all kinds of ways to practice forgiveness, whether it is a letter, journaling, praying, meditating. You get to choose what kind of, but that's what I love about forgiveness. And thank you so much for bringing something that is just, it's how I live my life. I cannot continue to be in love and empowered and growing in my own being, if I am carrying all this dead weight and guilt, you know, from the past, I need to release that and let that go, you know.
Which is also by your very definition, releasing another from the circumstance situation that may have been brought to you versus something you created. And we get to use that practice, right? In
Yes.
both ways.
Both,
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to say. Forgiveness is it goes both ways. Yes. What I've, you know, taken, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dora.
Oh, you're welcome, Nancy. Nice to meet you.
This has been fantastic. I so appreciate you, Dora. And what I would, before we close, I would like to ask you, what would you love to have us as paradigm shifters, our group, hold for you for whatever? What would you love? What would you love it to have us hold for you?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I think just you know, yes, keeping in your prayers and your, you know, in your energy, in your love, in mind, for me and you know, my entire family and those who are surrounded by me, that we are all that, you know, are continue to have this amazing health, this amazing love and positive energy. And as you think about me, also embody yourself with that, you know, love and light and energy for you too. You know, doing the self-care, taking care of you, it's vital, it's very important, so that way you can go on to the world, to your loved ones, and be that shining, vibrant light to the world, to whoever. When you go to the grocery store, or somebody delivers food into your house, give him a big smile. And even though you cannot, you know, just give love. Every single interaction that you can, even through via Zoom, just shine the light and love that is within you for others. So if you can do that for us too, that is awesome. And for the world.
Back at ya. Yes, it's a love thing. Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
So what I would love to do now is that we, with my partners in believing, we pray our in, and I would love to have Lynn pray us out today. So Lynn, would you like to pray us out, please? I love it. Of course.
Sure. Sweet and loving Spirit, as we go forth as paradigm shifters, let us remember the wonderful tools that Dora provided for us to move from fear to faith, and to not look at what we don't want, but to focus on what we want, and to know that there's a blessing and a gift in it for us. And then to add that extra little piece of forgiveness. And this will make paradigm shifting easy, even though we know it might not be pleasant in the moment. We know we can do it. And so it is. Amen.
Whoa!
Oh my God. Thank you.
I know. Do you believe it, man? I love it. I love it. Love it. All right. Well, hang on. I'm going to end the recording here in a minute. I have a message for all the paradigm shifters that will be watching this. This will be posted in the Facebook group, and we will be singing in the coming weeks. I have speakers lined up about music. I have Kit Holmes coming on talking about music in the shift, and the animal person, and on and on and on. So we love you and bless you and appreciate you.
Oh,
I'm so grateful for you.
thank you. Thank you.